Now, news just coming in fact, as the hijab controversy begins in the Supreme Court. We are now understanding that this mentions a special leave petition against the Karnataka High Court. The High Court had, in fact, yesterday said that it would issue an order on this, but had gone on to say that none of the students should display their religious identity until final orders are passed. The High Court, in the midst of arguments, had said that there shall be no display of religious identity. In a sense, it had stopped both the saffron-clad people as well as the burqa, the hijab-clad girls from entering, from wearing those symbols within the university. Let's go across to Ananya for more details on what's happening in the Supreme Court. Ananya, give us more details of what's happening there right now.
The matter was mentioned by senior advocate David Kamath, because remember, David Kamath was one of the advocates who was there before the Karnataka High Court as well. And now he had mentioned the matter with regards to the hijab law before the top court of the country. And CGI, however, declined the request for a hearing on Monday. In fact, SG Tushar Mehta also intervened into the matter, saying that the petitioners have not apprised the court that the orders of the Karnataka High Court are not out yet. Remember that senior advocate David Kamath, while mentioning the matter, also stated that the Muslim women's rights are being curtailed, and it is not only the Muslim women who are suffering, it is also for the other religions as well. He gave the examples of Sikhs wearing turban, and he was seeking an early hearing, urgent hearing of the matter, but then the Chief Justice said that it will only hear the matter at an appropriate time. But this is coming at a time a lot of things are happening before the courts in the country, because remember, even after the Karnataka High Court had passed these interim orders yesterday, these oral observations, because the formal order of the Karnataka High Court is not out yet. It had asked the people to maintain peace and tranquility. It had also asked for the Educational Institute to be reopened, and it said clearly that nobody, until and unless the Karnataka High Court decides the matter, should wear their religious identities until the matter is pending before the Karnataka High Court. And now the matter has reached the topmost court of the country. But
topmost court of the country. But clearly the Chief Justice is saying that it will only hear the matter at an appropriate time. Back to you.
In fact, even yesterday, Ananya, the Supreme Court had specifically said that it will not pick up this matter till the Karnataka High Court actually comes out with an order on this. So today, of course, is on the same lines as that?
Well, yes, Nupur, exactly right. Because remember, and this has a value to it, because whenever a higher court intervenes into a matter, in this case, which is the Supreme Court of India, the lower court will have to stop its proceeding right then. It will have to adjourn the matter. And when already the Karnataka High Court single bench had heard it for 2 days, and a larger bench has already heard a marathon hearing of almost 4 hours, now what we see is that the Supreme Court is not willing to interfere, because it wants the Karnataka High Court to decide whichever way it wants to, and then only it wants to proceed on with the matter. Because remember that even if the Karnataka High Court passes any order, whichever way it might be, the matter would definitely be coming to the Supreme Court. Any of the aggrieved party, be it the petitioners, be it the government, they would definitely be approaching the topmost court of the country, challenging the order of the Karnataka High Court. And we are seeing this even before the orders are out. So whenever the orders come out, this move would be all out, and the people would be approaching the court in actual appeals and not an SLP, because remember, the SLPs are usually filed when the orders of the predecessor court is not available, or there are some circumstances where an urgency is required in the matter. Nupur.
Right, absolutely. As you're pointing out, of course, the Karnataka High Court's larger bench is actually listening, is now hearing this petition. Now, Amita also joins me from our Delhi studios. Amita, but what the courts have repeatedly said in the Supreme Court also today is that we appeal to people not to spread this matter further.
No, absolutely. Nupur and Ananya, who's also joining us at this point, because what was being cited as we are looking at political overtones also to this, with the Congress party now deciding to knock the doors of the Supreme Court. And also, Ananya, what is being contended, that there is a direct infringement of their fundamental rights, but also what is being said, that this matter that is being taken up in multiple states is likely to spread further, and it would be better for the apex court to take cognizance. And that is why we are getting to know that the Supreme Court saying it has refused to take a urgent matter, saying till the time, let the High Court decide.
So exactly, Amita, the Supreme Court clearly saying that please let the High Court decide first, and it will hear it at the appropriate time. This is repeatedly mentionings are made. Yesterday, Mr. Kapil Sibal, senior advocate, had made the mentioning. Today, not only Mr. Devdutt Kamath, but also another advocate had mentioned the matter. However, since there were a lot of mentionings with regards to the hijab law, the bench of the Chief Justice of India considered the mentioning of Mr. Devdutt Kamath, who was leading the arguments yesterday before the Karnataka High Court for the petitioners also. But the Supreme Court's line is very, very clear on this, that they don't want to hear the matter, and until and unless there's an appropriate time, there's an order from the Karnataka High Court with regards to the same. And it might be that when the formal order of the Karnataka High Court is out with regards to these interim orders, they would then might hear the matter. But then it is for the topmost court of the country to decide. It's for the Chief Justice, who is the master of the roster of the Supreme Court, to decide what would be the future course of the hijab law before the topmost court of the country.
Absolutely, because Ananya, what is being said as far as that plea was filed, that there could be different states high courts that may pass conflicting orders, and that is why it becomes all the more important for the Supreme Court, because what is being said as they were countering the High Court's order, the interim order, one of the petitioners that moving the Supreme Court, and they were also seeking interim relief on the order, and that's not coming in their way, at least for today.
Well, yes, exactly right. The interim orders, we'll have to wait and watch as to when they come out. But and the order was a very balancing one, being somebody who the Karnataka High Court has very, very balanced the rights of everybody involved in this matter, because it was not only for those wearing hijabs, but also for the other side as well, those who were donning the saffron shawls. And the Karnataka High Court's only appeal in its interim order was that peace and tranquility should be maintained, and educational institutes. Because remember that according to the Chief Justice of Karnataka High Court, Mr. Rituraj, and also the other judges who were presiding the full bench of the Karnataka High Court, their first priority was that first, peace and tranquility shall be maintained. Secondly, that the education of the students should not suffer. And the midway that they could found in kind of those interim orders were that nobody, be it the ones wearing hijab or be it the ones donning the saffron shawls, shall be allowed to preach or practice their religious identities inside the educational institutions. Amita.
Absolutely. So, Ananya, just help us understand this pattern there, because earlier yesterday also the matter was approached to the Supreme Court. It refused, saying the matter is already being taken up by the High Court. And right after the interim court orders that have been now come out, there is also another appeal that has been made by the Supreme Court. So that means till the time on Monday, which is the 14th, is when the High Court will resume hearing on this matter. Supreme Court will not be entertaining any of these pleas.
Well, yes, exactly, Amita, because as I pointed out earlier to you, that whenever a higher court hears the matter, the lower court would have to step in. When already the Karnataka High Court single bench and then a larger bench was hearing the matter, then there is no point for the Supreme Court to intervene at this point of time until and unless there is a final order that has come out. And in fact, even pointing out the interim orders, the formal interim order is also not yet out. The orders, the formal orders of the full bench is yet to come out, and we'll have to wait and watch as to what exactly has been said in those orders, because these were the oral observations which were given out by the Chief Justice, and at many a times we've seen that the oral observations that have been mentioned by the judges in the courts are usually do not found places in the final orders. But then these interim orders and this request of peace and tranquility was a very, very important one that was made in order to control the situation that is there in Karnataka and the other parts of the country where these such protests are taking place. So we'll have to see, because remember that the yesterday's petition that was mentioned by Senior Advocate Kapil Sibal was on a very different ground, that the matter is spreading to various various states, and there are protests across states. And now what has been approached today is a special leave petition which is against the orders of the Karnataka High Court. So these are two distinct issues because one is challenging the Karnataka High Court order and the other one is in a larger picture. But the Supreme Court being very clear on both the aspects that it will let the Karnataka High Court decide the issue first and then only to proceed on with the matter, and would hear it on an appropriate time.
So is Monday the day when the High Court will resume hearing on this matter? Just for our viewers who are joining in at this point, the breaking news that is coming that the Supreme Court once again has refused to take up the matter urgently. Now remember, this is also coming at a time when multiple appeals that have been filed in court, and the Supreme Court has now said that it will be hearing it at an appropriate time. And also what is being said that the petitioners haven't had a role on the orders that have not come out yet. We are talking about the Karnataka High Court order, the interim order, and the Supreme Court for now has refused the petitioners' demand for an urgent hearing on Monday. Monday is also the time when the Karnataka High Court will be resuming its hearing because it had adjourned the matter till the 14th of February and had asked the petitioners there to not insist on wearing religious items to schools in the interim. So the court had also stated that it was in favor of reopening of the educational institutions, but maintaining peace in the state of Karnataka was also a priority. Let's listen into a few reactions coming in.
Yeah, it's definitely very forward-looking, and it has brought a relief, a complete relief, and the law or the guidelines, rules of the government, state government has been upheld. I think this will bring a solution and end all these crises or the problem what we have been facing with regard to the varying groups. And I think whatever has been prescribed by the government will be followed and appreciated by all sections of society.
So now, as we have heard, CM also stated that from Monday we will be seeing classes 9th and 10th opening, but later there will be a decision taken on the degree colleges. So how does the plan go forward? Will there be a proper planning so that this issue doesn't erupt once again?
The question of erupting of this kind of situation will be very remote. Since the things have made very clear, the government is very clear about its stand, the court has taken a very clear-cut stand, and nothing else they have to comply. Every one of us have to comply with this order, and to take the things forward, all of us need to cooperate, all of us need to join hand, all of us need to live together, and all of us need to help each other in peace and harmony. In this direction, we need to go forward in a staggered manner. We have just started with the stand up to 10th standard. Probably gradually we'll be opening up the colleges.
So one question, this is an exclusive of Republic TV where we had questioned the committee member of the college, the CDS. They had stated, the body had stated that since 2004 to 2021 December, nobody were wearing an hijab while they were coming in a uniform. So since last 17 years, nobody wore the hijab. But this comes after the government has issued an order. How do you see this?
This order of prescribing uniform was existing since 1995, and it was complied.
Asmohi Khan is with us right now. Let me just quickly go across to her. Now, what is being said that the Supreme Court has refused to entertain the plea, saying that there will be no urgent hearing till Monday. So, ma'am, what do you have to say on this latest bit that is coming from the Supreme Court's refusal of intervention?
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. See, I want to say that I welcome this decision of Supreme Court that they refuse to intervene. Let the High Court take their own time in deciding the matter. And I have an additional input on the subject that, see, this is nothing about religion, because it has been proved several times that wearing a burqa or covering a face is not an essential or integral practice of Islam, because nowhere it has been codified or written in the Quran. Not even a single verse talks about wearing a burqa or a hijab. And it is neither about constitutional rights, because every fundamental right given in our constitution from Article 12 to Article 35, they are not absolute. our right to religion mentioned in Article 25 is to practice, profess and propagate our religion. But it is a personal right. We can follow whatever religion we want. And there are certain limitations attached to every fundamental right. Public order, morality, decency. If we go to a public place, we have to follow a code of conduct. If we are going to a school, we have to follow the dress code. It's okay if you want to cover your body. Even wearing a bikini is a woman's right. If she wants to wear a bikini, she's allowed to do that. But there is a place to wear a bikini. A bikini should be worn at the beach or at the swimming pool. Tomorrow, what if a woman starts wearing a bikini and says, I want to go to a religious place wearing this bikini? Because this is my right to choose. And there are so many things which are showing the hypocrisy of these people who are trying to make this a big hoo-halla out of this hijab issue. They talk about right to religion, right to practice religion. And if you go to Aligarh Muslim University, if you go to Jamia Millia Islamia, will they allow non-Muslim students to sport a tilak or to wear bhagwa or to wear whatever they want to wear? No. In those institutions, they force non-Muslims to wear a sherwani or to wear a shalwar kameez, quoting dress code policy of the university or the school. But in Karnataka issue, they're saying, no, right to religion supersedes the right of the institution in which you're studying. Even educational institutions have their own rights. हम लोग अकेले नहीं हैं कि सिर्फ हमारे ही अधिकार हैं. And Constitution also talks about fundamental duties. You have to talk about the sovereignty, unity, integrity of India. We all know that in Bharat, using Islam, separatism is being promoted. It's not about religion or constitution. It's about using a religion and trying to instigate a sect of the society to just follow a separatism. They just want separate laws, separate judiciary, separate economy, separate dress code. This should not happen in a civil society. This should not happen in a democratic country.
I think exactly what is being said by the Karnataka High Court in its interim order, that till the time the matter is resumed on Monday itself, now they have to follow what has been there in the law, that is when it comes to banning the hijabs in classroom, and has also sought a stay on the High Court's interim verdict, and that is the plea that has been refused by the Supreme Court for now to be taken up anytime soon. Thank you very much, Subhi Khan, for joining us at this point. If I can come back to Ananya on this. Ananya, just a quick update as to what is being said by the High Court itself. But let me bring in Advocate Swapnil Kothari also with us. Swapnil, good morning to you. What are your observations so far? Because we are looking at a deliberate attempt. This is happening for the second time in the last 2 days, that the Supreme Court doors are being knocked, but the Supreme Court is refusing to entertain such pleas.
Well, the Supreme Court was right at the very first instance when the matter was seized by the Karnataka High Court. So they said that there is no point when the full bench has been formed and the hearing is underway at 2:30 on Thursday itself, which was yesterday. So why would they interfere? And they disregarded Mr. Kapil Sibal's application for the same. Now today, when the people have approached, when the students have approached the petitioners that on the basis of an SLP that, look, we want to oppose the interim order, fine, fair enough, you have a right to do that, but we are not going to hear it immediately. We'll hear it at the appropriate time. So the Supreme Court will take its time, decide it depending upon the facts and circumstances. And it has got its full review power to ensure as and when that it wants to hear this, SLP of the students. So I think what the Supreme Court is doing is ensuring that the Karnataka High Court, which is seized of the matter, will continue to hear. I'm sure it will start from Monday, but nevertheless, it doesn't stop the Supreme Court from hearing this particular interim order, because this interim order will continue to stay as long as the Karnataka High Court finishes its hearing and gives an order, a final order on that particular petition. Now, if the Supreme Court wants to entertain this petition and give a particular date, say Monday or Tuesday, nothing stops it from doing that. So on one hand, the petitioners will argue their matter in the Karnataka High Court on a full-fledged basis, answering all constitutional questions, other points of law. And on the other hand, the Supreme Court will hear the interim, the SLP against the interim order on a limited basis. So I think that is something which,
will... Do you believe it was premature enough to even approach the Supreme Court even when the interim court orders are not out yet?
Well, what they are doing is they're going by the line of the judge yesterday, that let things continue. And this is a normal course. I mean, people do it, and we advocates do it all the time. Since we have an order which is hurting our rights, because I am the petitioner and it's hurting my rights, I've got all the rights to approach the highest court of the land, which is the next in tier to the Karnataka High Court. And meanwhile, the Karnataka High Court, to facilitate that specially petition, will have to come out with the written order very soon, so that the Supreme Court then can hear this matter as and when its table or its list of matters of permits it to do, because there must be so many urgent applications. So the Supreme Court will have to decide it on the basis of the urgency as to which merits hearing first, because there are several, these things happen day in, day out in the Supreme Court, that you have to, and even in all the high courts of the country, that if you are, pressing an appeal, then your appeals will be decided on the basis of urgency, because there are so many appeals and there are only so many judges to hear them.